Welcome, dear friend, to Arkham Horror the card game. This is our third scenario, although it's our third episode, but it is apparently scenario 2, the Miskatonic Museum. I'm a creature of habit, so I have to go through the motions. We have 3 things to do before we start playing. First we recap, then we deck build or deck expand or deck change or deck upgrade, and then we'll do some reading to set the scene. First off then, a recap. In the first scenario, extracurricular activity 1A, we identified the solution. That doesn't actually affect the campaign. All that does is mean that we can upgrade a specific card in Rex's deck, the strange solution, if you remember. We rescued Professor Rice. Professor Warren Rice now lives in Rex's deck. We did fail to save the students. Thus we have a chaos tablet, or thus we have a tablet in the chaos bag. In scenario 1B, the house always wins. The O'Banion gang has a bone to pick with us. I believe that's because we left, was it Peter Clover or Henry Clover? Peter or Henry Clover to die to an abomination. Although some could say he brought it on himself. He was sat in the bar drinking while all this was going down. The other result from that scenario is that Dr. Francis Moran, or rather Dr. Francis Morgan, was kidnapped. I shall now take you over to Arkham Build, where we see Zoe's deck. Not too many actual deck changes, not too many player card changes, I suppose. We've only upgraded 1 Vicious Blow to Vicious Blow 2. A nice upgrade, though. Goes from, of course, if the skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage, to if that skill test is successful by at least 2, you get +2 damage. And a bit of a stealth upgrade as well. It also has 1 more fist commit icon, so hitting that +2 damage instead if it succeeds by 2 or more is much easier. Now, probably an unoptimal upgrade here is 2 charismas. We had 8 XP to spend, by the way, from the last scenario. 2 charismas, because in between the last scenario and this one, we added Dr. Henry Armitage to our deck, which means now, if we have a look at our deck, we have Beat Cop, who is a very, very useful, a core ally, I would say. We also have Dr. Henry Armitage, who is very strong. If we take a look at him, after you draw a non-weakness card, you can discard that card and exhaust Dr. Henry to gain 3 resources. Really, really nice for Zoe's quite expensive deck. So that, of course, means that we needed 1 charisma to get him out. And then Brother Xavier and Guard Dog are also both kind of strong. I would love to get Brother Xavier out with a Rite of Seeking and use that combo that we've talked about before. We'll see if it happens. Again, I don't think this is optimal, but it felt right to do at this time. On to Rex. What's Rex got cooking? Rex also has a charisma, only 1 for him though. I'm thinking that we'd like to get Professor Warren Rice out as well as Dr. Milan Christopher. Those are the 2 allies that I'm aiming for. Though Laboratory Assistant is completely sound and would be fine, and I'd be happy with that too. We added a higher education. I've been really excited. How sad's that? Really excited about a skill boost card. This is permanent. While you have 5 or more cards in your hand, higher education gains. Fast, you can spend a resource to get either +2 head, +2 willpower, or +2 book for this skill test. Wildly strong. Rex is always swimming in cash anyway, so he's effectively, in a way, you could say that he has 5 head and 6 book base, because he's always going to have that 1 resource spare. With the last 2 experience that we had, we added Pathfinder and we removed a Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter, the more I play with it, it just feels a bit, it doesn't necessarily feel bad or weak, but it feels like I know that there are better options. Pathfinder, I believe, being one of them. So Pathfinder is an asset talent. It costs 3 resources, so it is a bit expensive to play, but during your turn as a fast action, if you are not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder and move to a connecting location. That stipulation about not being engaged with any enemies really is almost inconsequential. If you're moving with Rex, you're not going to have an enemy attached to you or engaged with you. It just doesn't really happen. The earlier you get this in the scenario, the more of the scenario you have effectively free movement, or at least 1 free movement each turn. And how many times do you really move more than once in a turn? Fantastic card, and after this scenario, if we get experience, I will be looking to upgrade, or I will be looking to remove another Mind Over Matter to get another Pathfinder, and then also upgrade this other strange solution, but I think that takes second priority to the Pathfinder. Action compression. What I will do is I will give you a quick overview of everyone's deck. This is Zoe's. 3, 2, 1. You can pause the video, of course, with modern technology, and then an overview of Rex's deck. 3, 2, 1. Back to TTS. Well, that's the recap out the way, and that's the deck building out the way, so now it's time to read. Scenario 2. Miskatonic Museum. Several months ago, Armitage and his colleagues stopped a rampaging horror from tearing through Dunwich, a random town several hours north and west of Arkham. At first, you imagine this beast as a rabid bear, or worse, but the professor's description of the creature paints a different picture. It all began when a man named Wilbur Whately entered the Orne Library, looking for Elaeus Wormius's Latin translation of a book called the Necronomicon. Wilbur already possessed a beaten-up English translation by Dr. John Dee, but it was insufficient for his purposes. Armitage turned the man away, fearing what use the strange man had for the book. Whately returned in secret, hoping to steal the book, but was attacked by a hound guarding the university. Armitage, Rice, and Morgan later discovered Whately's body. A description of the foul corpse, semi-anthropomorphic and covered in fur, with a leathery hide and greenish-grey tentacles, causes you to question whether or not Whately was truly human. My colleagues and I were quick to put the ordeal behind us, Armitage says with a sigh. But it seems that things haven't fully resolved themselves. I'll tell you the rest later, but for now it is imperative that we get our hands on that copy of the Necronomicon. If my instincts are correct, the assailants you've encountered will be searching for it. After all that transpired, I didn't feel safe keeping it at the library, so I brought it to my good friend Harold Walstead. He is the current curator of the Miskatonic Museum. I thought it would be safe in the museum's restricted hall, but now I'm not so sure. You must retrieve it at all costs. I fear terribly what they could do with the rites contained in its pages. Ooh, scary. Now onto something even scarier, the setup. We gather all these cards from the encounter decks, from those encounter sets. That has been done for us. We have to choose an administration office and a security office location at random. Okay, we take the bottom from each, and we put the top one out of play over here, or actually we should just put them in the bin to keep things neat. And of course, neaten up those locations as well. Put the museum entrance and museum halls into play. Each investigator begins play at the museum entrance. That is this one up here. Wonderful stuff, edging ever closer to the start of the scenario. Set the 6 exhibit hall locations aside as a separate exhibit deck. Okay, shuffle the exhibit hall restricted and 2 other random non-restricted exhibit halls. But, ooh, okay, that's not meant to happen. Oh no, it's already gone so wrong. I put it in the play area. My bad. Take all these clues off. And flip it over. This is our exhibit hall 1. This is the restricted exhibit hall, and this, let's give it another shuffle so we don't cheat. And this is our third non-restricted, or this is our second non-restricted hall, but our third in this little separate deck. How to make things sound much more complicated than they need to be, 101. Then, well, we shuffle that, shuffle. Then we put the 3 other ones on top. Let's shuffle just to make sure we don't cheat. And we'll leave this deck to the side here. Must remember this is the exhibit hall deck. Set the following cards aside out of play, that will have been done for us. Then we shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to build the encounter deck, also shuffling our player decks as well, just while we're at it. What else is there to do? While I remember, because I normally forget this, let's look at the Chaos Bag reference for this scenario. Skull is -1, -3 instead if Hunting Horror is at your location. The Cultist is -1 as well. If you fail, search the encounter deck, discard and the Void for Hunting Horror and spawn it at your location if able. Sounds nasty. Tablet, which we do have one of, is a -2. Return one of your clues to your current location. There is notation here for an Elder Thing token, but thankfully we haven't got one of those yet. It would be -3, and if you fail, discard an asset you control, by the way. Let's have a look at these agenda decks, or the agenda deck and the act deck. Agenda 1A. Restricted access. Dr. Armitage has given the university's Latin translation of the Necronomicon to his associate Harold Walstead, the curator of the Miskatonic University Museum. Worried that someone might still be after the book, you've gone to the museum to recover it. Forced, when Hunting Horror enters play, attach the set-aside copy of Shadow Spawned to it, or add 1 resource to Shadow Spawned if it is already attached. Of course, I understand none of that, but I believe at this point, that's the point. 5 doom to move that forward. We don't have a huge amount of time. Act 1A. Finding a way inside. Unfortunately, the entrance to the museum is kept locked at this late hour. A security guard is visible through the building's front windows, oblivious to his surroundings. Perhaps you can find a way to get his attention and convince him to let you in. We'll need 2 clues to progress this. Interestingly, not 2 clues per investigator or 1 per investigator, 2 total, just 2 clues. Let's get some cards out there. 5 for Zoe and 5 for Rex. On Zoe, initially we have Manual Dexterity, Brother Xavier, Flashlight, Unexpected Courage, Physical Training. Well, we're happy to see a flashlight. We don't want unexpected courage. I don't think we want physical training. I also don't really think we want Brother Xavier. Or maybe we keep him just because we wouldn't. What are the chances of mulliganing? I've just made up a new word, mulliganing. You mulligan to gain cards. What are the chances of mulliganing a beat cop? Or Dr. Henry Armitage? Kind of low, I imagine. We also do know what encounter cards were. Oh, there's a little note about the Void over here as well. Let's read that. Some cards in this scenario reference an area called the Void. It's an out-of-play area which the Hunting Horror enemy can enter and leave via card effects. While the Hunting Horror is in the Void, it is considered out of play, cannot be affected by player cards or investigator cards. One of these encounter sets, I think it's, is it Sorcery? Or the Beyond. It was the one where you run out of cards. Hang on, I'm gonna look on Arkham Build for this. I realized because this is a video, you can just come with me. I don't have to nip over to Arkham Build by myself. So this encounter set, Sorcery, was in extracurricular activity and is in this scenario. It has visions of futures past, which is really nasty on the head. And coupled with that, to make it a kind of triple threat or for some symbiosis between them, this is the card that means when you mill through your entire deck, you just die. Or you don't just die, you could mitigate the damage somehow, but we don't have a way to mitigate that kind of damage. We would just die. Therefore, I kind of think shoring ourselves up against this 5 head test might be the way to go. Brother Xavier seeming not such a bad card to keep in this first mulligan. So after that bit of research, and I feel sort of in a bit of a pat on the back mood because I'm doing my due diligence in preparing for the scenarios, we're going to keep Brother Xavier and we're going to keep a flashlight. Let's redraw 3 cards. Zoe's Cross, really nice. A machete for a weapon and an emergency cache. I'm not sure we could have got much better. I guess, would I rather have had Rite of Seeking than a flashlight? Perhaps just for the novelty value. But all in all, this is a great starting hand. Shuffle those back into the deck so we don't forget to do that. Now for Rex, already we have a weakness drawn. Let's replace that before we start mulliganing. Delve too deep, you'll love to see it on a first hand. I've got a plan. Let's say we get rid of that. We don't really want to prep to have weapons on Rex this early. Magnifying glass we will keep. Guts we will... Ooh. You know what? Guts we keep. I was initially going to get rid of it, but what do we really need to replace it? We already have a magnifying glass. We already have Dr. Milan Christopher. That's our first turn's assets sorted. Why not keep a Guts just for the encounter deck? And then I really want to keep Delve Too Deep. It's not the correct decision, but I want to keep it because I want the experience points. So let's just get one more card. We have mulliganed Preposterous Sketches. A pretty middling card, I'd say, really. Although you can't complain about drawing 3 cards. It does cost 2, though. So not a whole lot better than just kind of sitting there and drawing clues. Well, I suppose, than drawing cards, I suppose it is because you're saving on actions if you're not saving too much on resources. Alright, ignore me, what am I talking about? We have our starting hands. Let's look at our first location. Museum entrance. The Miskatonic Museum is an opulent and stately building, supported by expeditions funded by the university. Its sizable collection of exotic artifacts, curios, and art has drawn visitors from all over the country. As you approach the museum, you draw your coat tighter around your body to keep the wintry air away. The full moon drapes the building in ominous, bright moonlight. This is a 3-shroud location with 2 clues here, and we can resign. We also notice that we can't gain resources, telling us that we want to be in the museum, in museum halls, presumably. Museum entrance gains. You can spend an action to test, to attempt to break down the door to the museum. So you can get in 2 ways, legally, illegally, with violence or with pacifism. Going back to the original point, you can't get resources at the museum entrance, so before the start of next turn or before the upkeep phase of this turn, we need to be in museum halls. This means we need to get these 2 clues fast or test 5. On Rex's first turn, I would really rather... He's not going to be able to satisfactorily challenge a 3-shroud location hoping to get +2 to get both those clues. He'd be testing against 5 practically. And if we played a Dr. Milan Christopher, we'd only be 5 versus 5. That's rubbish. And then we're not going to commit magnifying glass, nor are we going to commit preposterous sketches. It wouldn't be worth it. So I think we try to break down the door with Zoe, throwing this cross at it. I don't want to throw the machete because it's our only weapon. I feel like that's too important. Zoe's cross is good, but having 3 fists added on, so we'd be testing 7 versus 5. That feels to me better than throwing all of our cards and testing on Rex. Yeah, I think we say that's our plan for this turn. We throw Zoe's cross at it. It is a 5 fist test. We're just hoping for anything better than a -2, I suppose. A skull, -1, fantastic news. We batter down the door. What happens? If you are successful, immediately advance to Act 1B. Alright, well that was quick. If the investigator spent clues to advance, I didn't, we successfully performed the action ability. Act 1B. Gaining entrance. With great strength, you break down the door to the museum, making considerable noise as you do. The security guard sees you enter, cries out in fear, and rushes towards the back of the museum. Some security guard, for heaven's sake, although we are... Picture the scene. Zoe Samaras with her bloody chef's knife is battering down the door with her cross. She is on a mission from God. Would you get in her way? Now, we ran into this problem when there are different options for the Act deck card. We need to find breaking and entering. How do we do that? It's this one. It's not Night at the Museum. Okay, I need to be very careful of that because I know we messed up in we messed up in The House Always Wins. Act 2A. Breaking and entering. The Necronomicon is being kept in a restricted hall somewhere in the museum. We now have an objective. If an investigator enters the exhibit hall, restricted hall, advance. We do have to reveal the museum halls as well. Museum halls, 2 shroud, 0 clues. They're connected to each copy of exhibit hall. I see, it's a hub location. Why did I say that so smarmily? It's a hub location. We can spend 1 action to spend 2 clues as a group. You put the top card of the exhibit deck into play unrevealed. I see, I understand what they're going for. Well, not too much to do. I suppose we move once with Zoe into museum halls, ready to go to either of these locations. Just making sure that we dodge this horrible can't gain resources effect. And then with our 5 resources here, what do we want to do? We either want to play Machete or Brother Xavier. Let's do Brother Xavier. If any enemies come out of the horror, the encounter deck, we can soak for 1 turn or put the damage on Brother Xavier if we take an attack of opportunity to equip our machete. Although, actually, no, thinking about it, we would need to play an emergency cache. That would be 2 attacks of opportunity, which is not what we want to do. We will play the machete for our last turn, and that costs 3 resources. We're happy with that. We're happy with Zoe's first turn. Now, Rex, what do you want to do? You don't really want to stay at the museum entrance in the next upkeep phase, but is there a way to get both clues and also get out of town? I mean, obviously we want to play Dr. Milan Christopher. I mean, that's a given. But there's not even any point playing Dr. Milan Christopher. Maybe we should just roll twice at 4 versus 3 and see what happens. We wouldn't get the resource from Dr. Milan Christopher anyway. I actually think we just suck up this nastiness with the can't gain resources. We just say we need the clues, we have to get the clues somehow, let's just do it. So this whole breaking down the doorway nonsense actually hasn't helped us out a huge amount, I don't think. We still have to stay here and get the clues at the end of the day. Well, Dr. Milan is out. We would be testing 5 versus 3. Doesn't feel really good enough. Let's get that magnifying glass out. That's our second action. We're now testing 6 versus 3, hoping for a -1 or better. Could throw a Preposterous Sketches just to bump it up to 81%. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's throw Preposterous Sketches. Preposterous Sketches brings that up to a 4 + 1 + 1, 7 versus 3. We're hoping for anything better than a -2. A +1, crikey, that's what's the opposite of vindicating? Makes me feel futile. It makes all my efforts, my preparations feel futile. It's futilizing. But that doesn't matter. We would rather have been safe. We don't get to exhaust Dr. Milan, unfortunately, because of this damn effect. We've lost out on 2 resources for that. Anyway, that was Rex's third action. Ooh, I gave the clue to Zoe. That's not right. Take them off her, Rex. You did the job. Rex's go finishes in the museum entrance, but next turn we'll move him somewhere else. Onto the enemy phase. Of course, there are no enemies. The upkeep phase, we have drawn to the flame. I've said those 2 words straight after each other one other time earlier. We've got drawn to the flame on Zoe and a deduction on Rex. Strong cards. Good enough. I don't think we've got anything to complain about there. Our first Doom added to the Mythos counter this game. How exciting. Let's draw our encounter cards at Terror from Beyond. Now, this is, I remember someone saying, because this has peril on it. I saw that it had peril. I knew what peril meant. But you can still action peril in a two-handed game where you don't look at your other hand. And I guess you're going off memory. So I'm going to try and do that. Terror from Beyond is revelation is choose one of the following card types, asset, event, or skill. Each player must discard each card in his or her hand that is of the chosen card type. So we're only going to do this looking at Zoe's hand. Zoe would like to keep her assets. I know that. I believe we would get rid of skills this time. So let's do it. Zoe doesn't have to get rid of anything, but Rex has to get rid of... Oh, shit. Right. I think that's... We needed to keep Delve too deep anyway, so I think skills is the optimal thing to throw away, but it doesn't feel great, heaven's sake. Rex's is passage into the veil. Fucking fantastic artwork, that. Look at that. Owen William Weber, you have done a fantastic job. We test 3 head. This test has +2 difficulty if the hunting horrors at your location. If you fail, you must either discard the top 5 cards of your deck, well, we're not doing that, or take 1 direct damage. Well, that's kind of scary because we're Rex, but we don't have any allies. Oh, we do. Oh, Dr. Milan would get... Oh, it's horrible. Dr. Milan would get deaded. Am I really considering throwing Brother Xavier at it here? We need to, man. We need to go 1 up. We need to get rid of Brother Xavier. We're at different locations. We can't. Oh, and I've dealt it to the wrong person in my moment of stress. This is horrible. We would have loved, wouldn't we, to have kept Guts. Of course, we can't be spending resources because we don't have 5 cards or higher. Wow, man, this sucks. All right, we just test. 3 versus 3. Well, I think we're happy with that. Well, not happy with it, but we accept that. It's an auto-fail. Anything we would have committed, we would have been wasted anyway. I think that's about as good as we could have got. That Guts would have been wasted, so it's good we got rid of it. Well, add an auto-fail to the counter. For the first time, we are ahead on auto-fails now. Well deserved. Okay, we either discard the top 5 cards of your deck, or we kill Dr. Milan Christopher. We can't kill Dr. Milan Christopher, man. He's so core to our economy and to our investigation and just everything. We have to just discard cards. Top 5, manual dexterity, magnifying glass, unexpected courage, manual dexterity, and mind over matter. As discarding cards go, generally alright. Though I do notice that there were 2 manual dexterities in there as well as our mind over matter, which means our evasion might be a little tricky from now on. Thank God we're not going to be running away from some kind of interdimensional ghost snake with, wings or legs? Then, thank God we don't have to do that. That's the mythos phase done though, a nasty one, if I've ever seen it. Investigation phase, what to do? Rex doesn't really have anything. I think he moves into the museum halls. Does he? Yeah, I think he goes into the administration office. Let's send Zoe to security and Rex to the administration office because that's kind of thematic. Rex goes for the paperwork. Zoe goes for the cameras, or whatever the equivalent of security cameras were in the 1920s. Perhaps just very slow exposure ones. Yes, Rex into the administration office. A sturdy wooden door with a plaque next to it reads, Administration. In the hall outside the doorway, you see a row of paintings depicting the museum's many curators through the years, each adorned with their name and years of employment. Perhaps it's just your imagination, but they look more distressed in recent years. The office is meticulously organized, from the books in alphabetical order on the shelves to the stacks of forms organized by category on each desk. A coat is draped over one of the nearby chairs. Perhaps somebody other than the security guard is still here at this late hour. Alright, I've already seen something that's pissed me off. 1 shroud and there are 2 clues. You cannot investigate the administration office while you have 4 or fewer resources. Well, of course, I have 4 or fewer resources because it's the start of the game and I played my assets. So Rex is damn useless in here. We just bring him back. Complete waste of time. No point sitting there and... But then who is gonna? Man, this is a joke. I guess Zoe needs to play emergency cash to take us up to 5, and then play flashlight, which would take us down to 3, and we still wouldn't be able to investigate. It'd have to be next turn. Oh, this is horrible. Well, Rex is not gonna be getting resources anytime soon, we know that, so he does come back to museum halls, and that's his whole go. What a waste of a bright mind such as Rex's. At least we know what's in there. Do we have to spend an action? Yeah, we do, to reveal another hall. We could also actually move Zoe into the admin office, use a Drawn to the Flames so we don't have to wait around with all this 4 or fewer resources malarkey. Let's do that. That feels like a good way to deal with that problem. Drawn to the Flame. Draw the top card of your encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location. Let's do everything in order. It will cost an action. We discard Drawn to the Flame, then we draw the top card of the encounter deck. Slithering behind you. If Hunting Horror is in play, add a Doom to it. It's not. If Hunting Horror is not in play, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and the void for Hunting Horror and spawn it at your location engaged with you. Okay. Where are you, you big bastard? Here we go. Hunting Horror. It is a 2/3/3 monster elite, hunter and retaliate. At the start of the enemy phase, reveal a random token from the Chaos bag. If the revealed token has a symbol, ready Hunting Horror. So evading is what less useful against it. When Hunting Horror leaves play, place it in the void. Okay, so we're going to take the hit from it in our next enemy phase. That much is for sure. We get the 2 clues though, and that's all that matters. Is that all that matters? I'm not sure. It does engage us though, and we get a resource. What a windfall, what a lucky windfall. For our last action, what, we just whack it? Do a bit of damage to it, but knowing we won't kill it? That's all we can do. Could we test 2 versus 2 to evade it? Ooh. Feels very silly at a 25% chance of success. Let's attack it. With a machete, we're testing 5 versus 2. Anything better than a -3, and we do our damage. Oh! It's a tablet. It's a tablet, but it's... it's a tablet, but it's the tablet effect returns one of your clues to your current location, so we don't even get to revel in the rewards of our Drawn to the Flame. That is just disgusting, but we do, at least, do 2 damage to the Hunting Horror, though I'm not happy about it. On to the enemy phase. The Hunting Horror attacks us, takes one of our very, very precious horrors or very precious sanities. Upkeep, we've drawn a Guts on Zoe and a Quick Thinking on Rex. Where have all Rex's cards gone? Where have Rex's cards gone? Did we commit a load of them at the start? I guess we must have. How can there be 10 in the discard? We had to discard those 5. We lost 2 from the encounter deck, I remember, and then the rest. Ooh! We didn't shuffle. At least. Preposterous. I've got a plan and the weakness back into the deck. Shit. That does technically ruin things. I also needed to shuffle the encounter deck after drawing Hunting Horror. That means I need to check Zoe. So Zoe's we did shuffle into the deck from the mulligan. This is, I'm only using half the words I needed to explain it. That puts us in a slightly better position, I guess. How do we group all? Oh, it's a nightmare. They're all moving together. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's stressful. There we go. Stress averted. Means we have a little more breathing room with regards to deck size and deck space. Mythos phase. Add a Doom and start drawing encounter cards. Obscure. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Put things back. Oh, everything is collapsing. Take a resource off ourselves. We upkept things. Get everything back. Get everything kosher. Obscuring Fog is hilarious. You attach it to your location and this location gets +2 Shroud, which means that now we could have got this clue back from the administration office quite easily with Zoe, really. Now this location has 2 more Shroud, which makes everything a lot more difficult, though it's not an enemy, so perhaps we should be thankful in that regard at least. For Rex, Twist of Fate, reveal a random token from the Chaos bag. It is a symbol, which means we take 2 horror. Let's put 1 on Dr. Milan Christopher and take the other direct. Again though, not an enemy. Perhaps we're happy with this. Investigation phase. All we need to do is attack the Hunting Horror, equip Flashlight, and we can't even investigate because we don't have enough resources. That is hilarious. But at least we know what we're going to do. We attack the Hunting Horror. We're testing 5 versus 2. Anything better than a -3 and we're happy. -1 success. The Hunting Horror goes into the void, which we're just going to have up there. He is dead. He gets removed, but he doesn't get discarded. Now, where does it say this? When Hunting Horror... Interesting. I forgot to attach the set-aside Shadow Spawned. Let's hope that didn't change things too much. Hunting Horror gets +1 health, +1 fight, +1 evade. For each resource on Shadow Spawn. So every time the hunting horror comes into play, it gets a bit stronger. I understand. And then when he gets really strong, he gains massive. Don't know why it's a masculine hunting horror. When it gets 3 resources on it, it gets massive. Or she, or, it's or them. Anyone can be anything. Do we get ready? Is this one clue really that important? I kind of feel like it is, because where else are we getting clues from? You would hope that one of these exhibit halls has them, but Rex is probably going to go to clear that up. There is the security office, but I do kind of feel obligated to stay here and get this last clue. I can't tell you why. Remembering we need 4 resources at the administration office to investigate, we play our flashlight. 2 resources and our second action. We then use an emergency cache to take us up to 6 resources, and that's our last action. I wouldn't say we're happy with that, but we know what we're doing next turn. Now for Rex. Rex could get clues. I would say let's leave the security office for Zoe, because there's blood inside by the look of it. Let's have Rex use his first action to spend his clues and reveal one of these exhibit halls. Spend that, put the clues away, put the clues to bed, and reveal an exhibit hall. Did it say reveal, or did it say put it into play? Put the top card of the exhibit deck into play unrevealed. Okay. For our second action, we move to this exhibit hall. What alluring artifacts are displayed inside? Do they, too, hold a sinister secret? Ooh, rather ominous. That's the most ominous and the most thoughtful, the most introspective flavor text I've seen so far. Sandstone sculptures and bejeweled artifacts from another era clutter this exhibit, like the tomb of an ancient pharaoh. I love the artwork on this. This is the Egyptian exhibit. 3 shroud and 2 clues per investigator, so 4. And there is a wooga, a victory point. Forced, after you fail a skill test while investigating this location, lose 1 action. Not too likely to happen with Rex, I would imagine. Ooh, did I flip it again accidentally? I did. For our final action, then, let's just get investigating and hope to get 2 of those clues. We're testing 6 versus 3. I would like to take that up to a 7 versus 3 with quick thinking, but then I also don't really know what we'd do with that extra action. Maybe just draw a card, perhaps, to replace quick thinking. Yeah, let's do that, actually. We commit quick thinking, which means we're testing 7 versus 3. Hoping for anything bigger than a minus, or anything better than a -2. -2, there we go. Anything equal or better to a -2, I should have said. We do get another action back, let's not forget that, while we're resolving effects. 2 clues, and because of Dr. Milan, a resource, which we love to see. And then we said we'd just draw a card with our final action, which we will do so. I've got a plan. Well, I don't yet. Doesn't feel like this scenario is going too well. I feel like that hunting horror is, that's the boss of this scenario, right? It came out quite early. I don't like the idea that it's already got the ball rolling on its shadow-spawned nonsense. But anyway, enemy phase, there are no enemies. Upkeep phase, we have drawn evidence on Zoe, and another I've got a plan on Rex. Not exactly what we wanted to see, but it could come in handy. The Mythos phase, we add a Doom and we start drawing our encounter decks. Beyond the Veil, here we go. Put Beyond the Veil into play in your threat area. If your deck has no cards in it, take 10 damage. So, these 26 cards, we can't get to the end of them. Simple as that, otherwise Zoe dies. It does have Surge as well, so we have to draw another card. Beyond the Veil, that is ridiculous. If there is no copy of Beyond the Veil in your threat area, so nicely enough, we have soaked up the Beyond the Veils. Are there, I imagine there's 2 in this encounter set. Can't imagine there being 3. Or maybe there are, because you could play a 4-player game, so maybe it gives you 1 per investigator, I don't know. But nicely enough, we've soaked up the punishment for deck milling from Rex, meaning Rex can go through his whole deck. A small bit of good news in otherwise a sea of badness. Terror from beyond. Okay. We know what this does. Choose asset, event, or skill. Well, let's get rid of skill, I think. I can't remember what's in Rex's hand. I know that Drawn to the Flame, or what was it? Delve Too Deep is an event because we didn't get rid of it last time. So let's get rid of skills and hope that the I've Got a Plans are skills. Get rid of guts, and the I've Got a Plans are events. Fantastic news. Dealt with that all right, and for Rex we have Passage into the Veil. God, man. Okay, well, we're testing again. 3 head versus 3 head, and we are going to fail, so get ready to discard some cards. Although, as we just talked about, the damage from drawing cards has definitely been reduced by having soaked up, I imagine both of Beyond the Veils on Zoe. All that we can do is test 3 versus 3 and hope for the best. A skull, -1, we of course fail, discarding 5 cards. We're not killing Dr. Milan Christopher. Oh, one of our strange solutions. It's the unidentified one. Fantastic news. A deduction, a perception, a ward of protection, that's nice, and our other Dr. Milan Christopher. All things considered, lads, not a bad discard, not the worst punishment I've ever had in my life and in the game. Moving on with a bit of a pep in our step, we go to the investigation phase. Now, determined, of course, to get this last clue from Administration Office, we test. In fact, hang on a second. There are 4 clues in this exhibit hall. We do not need the clues from the Administration Office. I'm not going to do any sunk cost nonsense. We are running away with Zoe Samaras. 1 action. We could also play Brother Xavier. Interesting thought. Well, what if we need resources to investigate the security office? Let's have a look in here and see what's there. Our second action to move into the security office, which, as we saw before, has blood. A plaque next to this doorway reads, "Security." The door is ajar, and inside you catch the scent of blood. Somebody must have left the security office in a hurry. Blood stains the floor under the desk nearby. Thankfully, there are some useful supplies here you may be able to use. So it's a 2-shroud location, and there are 2 clues here. Very, very deal-withable by Zoe, especially with that flashlight. You can spend 2 actions to search the top 6 cards of your deck for a card and add it to your hand. Shuffle the rest back into your deck, limit once per turn. What would we want to draw? Let's say we play Brother Xavier. Now we've got our allies, or one of our 3 ally slots filled. What would we want? Evidences are nice. We've already got a flashlight out for our investigation. We've got a weapon out. I don't think it's worth the actions, really. So for our last action, we could spend it getting a clue, but we'd want to clear this location out with Zoe, potentially, but it doesn't have a victory point, so is that a waste of time? It is decisions. Well, let's try and get clues in evens. What we'll do this turn, we'll play Brother Xavier. Takes us down to 2 resources. It's our last action. Then next turn we get one of these clues, depending how we feel, and then come back to the museum halls and open up another exhibit hall. I think that's the way to go about it. Rex's turn. Let's test. Of course, we're testing 4 + 1 + 1, 6 versus the 3 of exhibit hall. Hoping to over-succeed by 2, thus hoping to get anything better than a -1. Let's throw one of these I've Got a Plans away to take us to 7. 7. An auto-fail. All right, well, what can you do? First action done. Second action, I don't know, man. After you fail a skill test while investigating this location, lose an action. Okay. We test again. 6 versus 3. See what happens. -1 takes us to 5 versus 3. Hey, that means we get both clues. It's kind of worked out in the end. Cost us too many actions potentially, but it's worked out. We can also exhaust Dr. Milan Christopher to draw, to gain a resource. Good stuff, and, of course, a victory point. Awooga. Next turn, let's consolidate both investigators in museum halls, or maybe go there first with Zoe to unlock somewhere for Rex to run to. Well, we'll see what happens. The enemy phase, there are no enemies that I can see. The upkeep. We have drawn an emergency aid on Zoe and Rex's curse on Rex. We know what this does, but we'll read it again. When you would succeed at a skill test, return the revealed chaos token to the bag and reveal a new chaos token. If this effect causes you to fail the test, shuffle Rex's curse into your deck. That's forced as well, you can't choose to do that. Not the worst weakness, we've already been through that. Mythos, we add a doom, we are now. What did someone else call this? The witching hour. I love that. We're now in a turn where any doom that's added to anything doesn't really matter because it would move forward next Mythos phase anyway. Encounter cards. Ooh. Stalked in the dark. If the hunting horror is in play, it readies, engages, and attacks each investigator at your location. Otherwise, God, that's awful. Otherwise, stalked in the dark gains surge. Well, stalked in the dark gains surge this time round. Arcane barrier. As an additional cost, you attach it to your location first. As an additional cost to move into or out of the attached location, test 4 head. If successful, discard Arcane Barrier. Otherwise, you must either cancel your move or discard the top 5 cards of your deck. Well, we're not going to be discarding, but we do have decent head on Zoe, especially with Brother Xavier. Definitely rather get it on her than on Rex. Speaking of Rex, we have Ephemeral Exhibits. Test 3 book. If you fail, lose 1 action for each point you failed by. Okay. We're 4 book naturally, 5 book with Dr. Milan Christopher. Testing 5 to 3. And we got a skull, which is a -1. We succeed. Okay, happy about that. God, that could have been awful. An auto fail on that and you skip a turn. That is terrifying stuff. Investigation phase. Rex moves. 1 action. Rex spends 2 clues to get another exhibit hall. 2nd action. Pull the exhibit hall. Let's just put it here. 3rd action. Move to the exhibit hall? No. 3rd action, spend more clues to reveal more exhibit halls, knowing or having the knowledge that these exhibit halls to the right are definitely not the restricted access area that we need to get to. Bit of a boring turn, but a necessary turn. For Zoe, do we say sod these clues? No, I think we stick to the plan. We get clues in 2s. Otherwise, this 1 clue is just useless on Zoe, no point. Let's investigate then. We spend a supply of flashlight. Takes it down, we'd be testing 2 versus 0. That means anything but an auto fail, and we succeed and we get the clue. Oh, I put it back. It was a skull. Thankfully, this popped up. At -1, a skull is therefore success. One of these clues get got. Then for our 2nd action, we attempt to move away, but knowing that we have to test Arcane Barrier. So, 5 versus 4. It's a 62% chance. Doesn't feel great. Can we commit anything? We can't, man. I really don't want to be discarding cards, so we might just get our move cancelled. Well, all we can do is roll -1. What can you say? Sometimes things just work out. Statistically, or in a probability sense, I suppose it should have worked out, but the odds weren't too much higher than 50-50. Discard this Arcane Barrier. Get out of here. Then with that last action, we spend our 2 clues and reveal one of those other exhibit halls, knowing full well this could be the restricted one. Let's then prioritize exploring these ones on the left. I imagine some of these ones on the right would have victory points like the Egyptian exhibit, so we save them if we have time to investigate. Zoe's turn done. Everyone's turn done. Again, not too much happening. I like this scenario though. It seems like the only enemy is the hunting horror. I like that concept. And I think with these living card games or card games or whatever you want to call this genre of game, I feel like having these distinct scenarios, using that limit on, you know that people are going to sit in this game for an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, in a bit of a self-contained gameplay session, and I think using that to experiment with concepts like this, it seems to be we're just investigating a museum. There's no criminals, there's no rats, there's no ghouls, it's just one hunting horror. Everything else is, head checks and book checks and things, or I haven't seen any foot checks, but I suppose they're coming. I love that. I love it when they explore new concepts, I suppose. Go to the upkeep phase. We have drawn physical training on Zoe. Is it good? Yeah, it's okay. Not sure we'll be playing it though. Our economy hasn't really popped off this game, I wouldn't say. I suppose, just talking about this only having, one big enemy doesn't seem like there's any little, what would you say, chaff minions like rats. That means we're not getting this constant cycle of getting a resource when they engage Zoe. So you can feel your economy suffering from that. Rex, by the way, got Inquiring Mind, which will come in very handy. What a lovely card for this map. Mythos phase, 5 out of 5, it does move on, so let's flip it while we remember. Agenda 1B, a creature of the void. From the shadows of the museum halls, a terrible creature slithers forth, long and serpentine, and propelled by black, leathery wings. Okay, so they are wings and not little stunted legs. If hunting horror is in play, add 1 doom to it. It's not in play, it's in the void. If hunting horror is not in play, search the encounter deck, discard pile and the void for hunting horror, that's where he is, and spawn it. Ooh, in museum halls. If able. Okay, well that's where everyone is, so at least we can take aggro on Zoe. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Let's do that. And move hunting horror into the museum halls. Now something to do with shadow spawned. When the creature... Oh, it's on the next agenda deck, which we have to read, sorry. Agenda 2A. Shadows deepen. The shadows in the museum grow and become darker. As the shadows lengthen and shift, they begin to suggest the sinewy body of an uncanny creature darting at the periphery of your awareness. Forced. When hunting horror enters play, this is the same. Add a resource to shadow spawned if it is already attached, which it is. And there's 7 doom to get past this one. Okay, a resource. Let's move these heart tokens out of the way. Let's add one of a dynamic token or a normal resource token. Let's add a dynamic token. I guess that means you can click in the middle of it, perhaps, and it stacks up. No, that's not how it works. Let's just add a normal resource token and hope that we remember to move them all as a group. Encounter cards. Beyond the Veil. Hey, there was more. Oh no, this is because of reshuffling from the discard pile into the encounter deck. Well, luckily, again, we've tanked it for Rex, although now I see the problem. It can come back around, so Rex might draw them. Passage into the Veil. It might almost be better to churn through this whole deck before we start drawing any nonsense like Beyond the Veil on Rex. Wonder if that's a high-level play. Okay, we test 3 versus 3, hoping that we fail, I think. There you go. Oh, and we're actually testing 3 versus 5 because the hunting horror is at our location. Well, what can you do? 5 cards. We have lost Guts. We've lost Laboratory Assistant. We've lost what was that? An Inquiring Mind. A Shortcut. Ooh, that would have been nice. And we've lost our Strange Solution, Acidic Ichor. Well, at least not too much fighting to do in this scenario, it seems, or Rex won't have to. Discard Passage into the Veil. The hunting horror engages Zoe, so she does get a resource now. And that's the Mythos phase done. We set all the doom, don't forget about that, and now whack away on hunting horror with Zoe. Hit it twice. Testing 5 versus... Now it has a resource on it. What did that mean? We look at Shadow Spawn, don't we? It gets 1 fight, 1 health, and 1 evade. Therefore, its fight is now 3. We're testing 5 versus 3, We are happy with that, but we do acknowledge that it has a retaliate, so it is a bit scarier. 5 versus 3. What can you do? Test. 0. Success for our first shot. And for our second shot, 3 plus 1, 4 HP. 0? What are the chances of that? What's 25% of 25? Anyway, the hunting horror does get deaded for now. Takes us 2 actions, though. Get rid of this damage token. Again, TTS and me fail to connect. Hunting horror gets put in the void with Shadow Spawned, and it's going to get even stronger if it comes back. For our third and final action, surely we don't just go to one of these exhibit halls. That's insane. But what else is there to do? Acknowledging that we could play Delve Too Deep potentially next time round. In fact, what I think we do, Rex is going to go clear out this exhibit hall, right? Or does he need backup? Potentially he does. We're not going to do too much clue getting by ourselves, are we? So let's go to this last exhibit hall, or this first exhibit hall of the exhibit halls that could be the restricted access. It's not, unfortunately. It is a 4-shroud location, and there are 2 clues. After you enter this location, discard 2 cards from your hand at random. It's the nature exhibit, by the way. Nothing about this exhibit is natural. A wooga, victory point, I suppose, though I'm not happy about this discarding cards. Discard them at random, okay. We got rid of emergency aid, we're happy about that, and we got rid of evidence. Evidence might have been nice, but getting rid of emergency aid I'm completely happy about, really. That was our final go. Now, is it worth, here's the question, is it worth even sending Rex to the exhibit hall? I don't think it is. There's only 2 clues here. It would be much better to clear out one of these other exhibit halls and leave Zoe to... Oh, but she's going to be fumbling. She's going to be testing 2 versus 2, and the chances of that are only 25. Not good enough, I'm afraid. Perhaps we just leave exhibit hall. I don't really want to discard 2 cards at random from Rex's hand, that's all. It's what I'm very aware of. Okay, well, on Rex, we move to one of these exhibit halls. Doesn't matter which, let's go to this one. Exhibit hall, Hall of the Dead. I need no reminder of my mortality. I know my death is imminent. Oh, they're kind of angsty, these flavor texts for all these exhibit rooms, aren't they? 3 shroud and 4 clues. This is more of Rex's speed. Forced, after you fail a skill test while investigating this location, take 1 horror. Also fine for Rex, and interestingly enough, Rex can move from the Hall of the Dead to the nature exhibit if he wanted to, for whatever reason. I'm not sure he would. But it is good to keep in mind. Okay, let's take stock of this. We'd be testing 6 versus 3. We'd want to go 7 versus 3, really, to get an 81% chance. But is it worth throwing Inquiring Mind at it? Probably not, because we also have to succeed twice. For this first skill test, let's just roll and see what happens, almost hoping to get rid of Rex's curse early. As I said then, testing 6 versus 3. What's going to happen? Okay, an auto fail. Right. Let's test again, because that's basically all we can do. A tablet -2. When you would succeed at a skill test, we were succeeding, so we return it and we redraw. It's an Elder Sign. Wow. So Rex's curse stays in play, but we get to do something cool. We could automatically fail to draw 3 cards. I don't think we want to do that. We would rather take this as the... God, is it a +2? The +2 that it is means we're way over succeeding and get those 2 clues. Now, are we going to stick around to clear it out to get the victory point? That's the question. Not sure. It would be nice. I'm scared of this hunting horror, though. This is the thing with the blind playthroughs. You don't know how far to push things, and I think it's a good feeling. It's a nice feeling when it exists, and it'll also be nice when that feeling doesn't exist, when I have more of an idea of what's in a scenario. Not sure how many times I would play something like this Miskatonic Museum, to be honest. It doesn't feel that interesting to replay. But if I did replay it, I would know what's coming more and I could push the limits perhaps if my little brain could wrap its head around it. We did succeed though, so we get another resource from Dr. Milan. Exhausting him, we are very flush with cash, very flush indeed. Of course we could run away and just unlock another museum hall. I think it probably best. What do? We moved here, we investigated, and then we investigated again. We have run out of actions. We'll probably stay around, investigate once more, hoping to clear out Exhibit Hall, Hall of the Dead, and then run away and open up 2 more exhibit halls, one of them definitely being the one that we want to get to. End of the turn, I'm afraid. On to the enemy phase. No enemies in play. Upkeep. We gain Dr. Henry Armitage on Zoe. Ooh, interesting for economy. And a Pathfinder on Rex. Ooh, very, very nice. Got to be worth playing. Even though you could be said we're kind of late in the scenario or at the midpoint. I think just getting those free... We're flush with cash anyway. Just getting those free move actions is fantastic. Well, happy with that though. Mythos phase, what's that going to do to us? A locked door. Well, looks like, that was on Zoe, looks like the nature exhibit is absolutely not getting investigated, so we can say goodbye to that victory point. It would be a 6. Oh no, it's not Shroud. Locked door, it just means that it's harder. We need to spend more actions to investigate the exhibit, the nature exhibit, which doesn't feel right to do. Though it's not a scary encounter card, so we count our blessings. Visions of futures past. Okay, as I said, we would really like to fail this by as much as possible. We're testing 3 versus 5, hoping to get an auto fail here, a 0. That means we have to discard 2 cards from our deck. We're happy with that. We want to get through this deck before any possibility of drawing beyond the veil. We discard Professor Warren Rice, and we discard Holy Rosary as well. Both of them would have been really nice, actually, so I don't feel great about it. Our turns, and we kind of know what we're going to do. We're going to investigate Rex Murphy in the exhibit hall. Action 1. Testing 6 versus 3. We got a -1. We have been very lucky, I will say that on the over-succeeding for sure. We get a resource because of Dr. Milan Christopher 2, again so flush with cash. It was one of our actions. Then for our second action, we play Pathfinder, I think. Just get that into play, costs 3 resources and an action, of course. But then we can freely move anywhere for free. We can freely move somewhere for free. Yes, George, that is how things work. And then for our last action, spend 2 of those clues. Open up an exhibit hall, I think. Or put one into play, rather. Now, for Zoe's turn, what is Zoe going to do? Get rid of this. No point staying in the exhibit hall, that's just ridiculous. Obviously move once towards the center. Then, go and explore this exhibit hall for 2. This is the Athabascan exhibit. A strange chill fills the hall, as if the climate of the Alaskan wilderness has traveled along with the artifacts on display. Forced, it's a 1 shroud 0 clues, by the way. After you enter this location, lose all of your remaining actions and immediately end your turn. Right. Good, though. We only lost 1 action and it could have been Rex quite easily. What do we have to do? Just get in the exhibit hall. Right. Our go's finished. We draw a card in the upkeep phase. 45 automatic and laboratory assistant on Rex. We're not too keen on Sim 45 automatic. We'd probably use it to evade things, to be honest, but not in the Athabascan exhibit for sure. Laboratory assistant might be nice just to draw cards because we have money to do that with, and it also churns through our deck. Actually, that is very useful, I see. Onto the Mythos phase, we add a Doom to the Doom counter. We drew Crit Chill on Zoe. We're testing 5 versus 4 at the moment. If you fail, discard 1 asset you control. Honestly, wouldn't really mind discarding a flashlight. I'd like to keep physical training, though. We have a lot of money to play around with. We definitely want to keep the... I honestly think this flashlight is inconsequential, so we test 5 versus 1, we see what happens. -2, we fail. Let's get rid of the flashlight, I'm not too worried about that. That seems odd, I admit. But we have a lot of money to play with, so having physical training in play rather than getting discarded to pass that test overall feels better. And you could say actually we should have played physical training last turn while we had time before moving into any other of these halls. That's just a misplay, really. We should... I know I do the setup turn at the start, and I'm sure that's what you're supposed to do, but there should also be other setup turns throughout the gameplay. Before you go into somewhere blind, like we've just demonstrated exactly why we should do this. Rex has to draw, and he gets... locked door. Attached to the location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. Which means, what if this locked door should have gone on exhibit hall? No, there were 2 on both at the time I drew it, I think. Locked door goes on a location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. Nicely enough, we're just going to throw that on the administration office. Exhibit hall, the nature one, is the one with most clues, but it already has a locked door. And we're never going to go back to this admin office. I don't think anyway, unless the agenda and the act deck change something about the game. A fantastic mythos phase, I have to say. We go into investigation. We spend clues with Rex. Very, very simple. 2 clues to put the last, and of course, by the way, the restricted access exhibit hall or whatever is the last one we reveal. We then play, we don't need to rush this, I think. We then play laboratory assistant, takes an action for 2 resources. After laboratory assistant enters play, draw 2 cards. Well, one of them's our weakness. After you take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. Could get nasty, but at the moment it's not too much of a problem, and we also drew quick thinking. Now we exhaust Pathfinder. Where is it? Exhaust Pathfinder to move to the restricted hall. Exhibit not yet open for viewing. It is a 3-shroud location with 4 clues on it and a Wooga victory point. Also, we move this act deck on. See what happens. Act 2B. The Guard's Fate. When you enter the restricted hall, you find the curator of the museum clutching an ornate statue as if it were a club, his suit stained with blood, a panicked expression on his face. The security guard you saw earlier lies in a pool of blood nearby, his intestines strewn about in a grotesque display. Your stomach turns and you resist the urge to vomit. I tried to stop it, but the curator says, quietly, his voice quivering. Whatever did this, it's still nearby. Choose an investigator to take control of the set-aside Harold Wolstead asset. Okay, what does he do? You get +2 book while investigating Miskatonic locations, and if he leaves play, we have to add a tablet to our chaos bag. Well, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get him killed. I guess we already get rid of laboratory assistant to make space for Harold Wolstead. Wonder if there's an argument for giving it to Zoe so that she's better at investigating these various locations. See, isn't that interesting? That might be the way to go. So Rex is being taken from a 6 to an 8. But if we get some more cards in his hand, then he can use higher education. I actually think, strange decision, Zoe gets Harold Wolstead. Takes her investigation up to a 4. And against these 3 shroud locations, it feels like the right way to go. Wonder if anyone's going to go through the exhibit hall. We'll see. It won't be Zoe because we can't afford to get her discarding cards. Anyway, we've taken control of Harold Wolstead. I presume All these locations are Miskatonic. Miskatonic. Yeah, they're all Miskatonic. What else? What else do we have to do? Search the encounter deck, the void, for the hunting horror and place it in the exhibit hall, restricted hall, ready. Advance to Act 3A. Okay, the hunting horror comes back. He gets another resource on him. Ooh, it's getting kind of nasty. So he's now 4, 5, and 4. Ooh. He will engage our man. Our man, Rex. It's going to be real nasty. It's going to do damage, and psychosis is going to amplify it. Well, can't be helped, I suppose. We just got to do what we got to do. So what did we do? We had a final action that we were going to investigate here with. Could we use that final action perhaps to run away from the hunting horror in some way, to evade it? We'd be testing 3 versus... What did we say? Is that 3 versus 5? 3 versus 4. And we also have Rex's curse, so we need to succeed twice. It is not going to happen, I don't think. We could try and kill it, but we don't have any clues. This is the way it goes. This is the way it goes. Well, we should try and evade. I think we can't draw cards or gain resources even, or investigate, because we just provoke an attack of opportunity. So let's give it a go. We're testing 3 versus 4. We need to succeed twice. I don't think this is going to work. -3. Can we use higher education? No. -3. Amazingly enough, we didn't evade the hunting horror. It stays engaged with us. On to Zoe. Perhaps Zoe. 1, 2, and then take the aggro. Yeah, let's do that. 1, 2. 2 actions, and then our third action, just take the aggro from Rex. And also, nicely enough, get that resource. It's the end of our go. Enemy phase. We do take damage, but we can throw them on. Ooh! Brother Xavier. So Brother Xavier, hang on. What I've realized is we take one of these resources away. We just leave the hunting horror on Rex. No, but we need it on Zoe anyway for the machete. All right, give that back. I take it all back. We're going to just do the way we initially decided to do. 2 moves, and then take aggro, getting that last resource, and then taking the damage on Brother Xavier. 1 and 1. Here's now the upkeep phase. Search for the truth. Fantastic stuff on Rex and a guard dog on Zoe. We have a singular card left in our deck. If we drew a Beyond the Veil now and Rex died, I think I would probably upload the video, but also restart. I would feel incredibly hard done by. The Mythos phase, we add a Doom to the Doom counter. What do we have to do? If there are no clues remaining in the exhibit hall, advance. So I guess we don't even want to clear this out necessarily. Do we want to spend all the time going to this exhibit hall over here and messing around? With Rex, I suppose we can. We can leave Zoe to slowly clear up the clues in the exhibit hall. We didn't turn over the exhibit hall. We did. But where are its clues? Because we messed up at the start. We flipped over the clues and we discarded them, if you can vaguely remember that going on. We put the card into play accidentally, so it kind of set it up for us. There are 4 clues on there. What happens? I think we leave Zoe at this location while Rex goes to this final exhibit hall to see if he can clear it out for clues and get that last victory point. We could also play a delve too deep while we're at the same location and Zoe can deal with threats. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. We added the Doom. We then draw an encounter, pushed into the Beyond. Choose and shuffle a non-story asset you control into your deck and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If a copy of that asset is discarded, take 2 horror. This is horrible. Choose and shuffle a non-story asset you control into your deck. Can't do Harold. Has to be Machete or Brother Xavier. But I need the Machete to deal with the hunting horror, absolutely. There's no way to do it otherwise. So we get rid of Brother Xavier. But that sucks. doesn't it? Shuffle it into our deck, and then discard the top 3 cards of our deck. Okay, I'll do as I'm told, but I'm not happy about it. Discard the top 3 cards. Unexpected Courage, 45 Automatic, Perception. We don't have to take the 2 Horror, but we do lose Brother Xavier, which is obviously awful. How many have we got? We've got 19 left. Ugh. With this Beyond the Veil, even 19 scares me. All right, drawing on... Oh, thank God. You know when you... Oh, I don't know why I say thank God. The Hunting Horror. It's something to do with the Hunting Horror, which is nasty. You know when you are going for like a jab, an inoculation or a vaccine or something, you look away from the needle coming in and you hope it kind of sneaks up on your body and you don't feel a thing. That's what I was doing there. I was sneaking up on the encounter deck so that we didn't draw Beyond the Veil just as Rex is about to run out of cards. But stalking in the dark, or no, slithering behind you is still not nice. We added Doom to it. Maybe we don't have time to go to this exhibit hall all the way over here. Then, if Doom's getting added to Hunting Horror already, doesn't feel great. That means we have, 3 turns left until, the shadows deepen and the Hunting Horror takes over our mind or something. Slithering in the dark, we've added a Doom to it. Is that it? Shuffle the encounter deck. All right, we can do that. We don't need to because we didn't search for the Hunting Horror, right? Okay, very happy with that Mythos phase. On this turn, we just whack away at the Hunting Horror. He now has 5 HP. It would have been really nice to get this physical training down. He has 5 HP and we're testing against 4 combat. 5 versus 4 doesn't feel fantastic. What are we saying? An attack of opportunity to get down physical training? I think so. It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be how we do it. Physical training, play, for 2 resources and an action. Also taking... Does it get extra damage when it has resources? No, it doesn't, at least. Okay. Taking a horror and an HP in the other way around order than I said. But that does mean that we can commit resources to definitely defeat Hunting Horror, but we're not even going to fully defeat it this round. Okay, this is nasty. This is nasty. Let's now, before we do anything else, let's think, are we going to send Rex to this exhibit hall to get clues? It says here you must find it and escape while you can. Meaning, I imagine we have to get away to the museum entrance, but that says, how important can a book really be anyway? So if we were here and we found the tome, where would we resign at? Maybe we can just resign here, maybe it lets us. We can't even investigate while the Hunting Horror's here. There's so much going on, I love it, it's fascinating. I'll tell you what, on this turn, we can attack twice with Zoe and then potentially use I've got a plan on Rex. It's not going to be its most, what would you say? Its most efficient use because we don't have any clues, but just getting that 1 damage to push the Hunting Horror into death this time will be very, very useful. Okay, 4 Fist, 5 Fist because of Machete versus 4 Fist of Hunting Horror. We would like to be 2 up, therefore we spend 1 resource to make us 6 to 4, and then we roll. So that's it, man, that's what you got to do, -1, success, alright, 2 damage on Hunting Horror. We then spend another resource from physical training and roll again. Ooh. Oh. Okay, it's a -3 because Hunting Horror is at our location, meaning it retaliates. Ay. Gosh. Okay, it retaliates, does damage to us 1 and 1. And we missed. It's nasty, man, it's nasty. Rex's turn. Well, there's no point Rex being here. Guess he could use, let's say he uses I've got a plan. Or he could use Delve Too Deep. We need to draw this last card so that we can mill our deck. Let's draw a card. We also got Psychosis and this treachery shit to deal with. Rex's Curse. Do we spend 2 actions to deal with Psychosis? I don't know. Okay, we draw this card just to get the threat of Beyond the Veil out of the way. That's an action. We drew, by the way, Shortcut. Now, I've never actually ran through my whole deck before. You just shuffle in, right? And you take a horror, as far as I've heard. I'm actually just going to double check that. What happens when you get through your whole deck in Arkham Horror? I'll be back. Okay, so what you actually do, this stays in our discard pile for now, And then when we next need to draw a card, we pull it into our deck, I guess, which means we need to spend another action. What happens if we play Search for the Truth? We'd only be drawing one card because we don't have any clues, so it sucks. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm gonna do a safe turn. We're gonna draw a card, which means we reshuffle our discard pile into our deck and then draw that card. That card is a deduction. That's our second action. For our third action, we help out Zoe. We play I've Got a Plan for 3 resources, testing 4 book, 5 book, because of Dr. Milan, versus the 4 fist of the Hunting Horror at the moment. 5 versus 4 again doesn't feel great, so I guess we might as well use this Search for the Truth because we're not going to get any clues stacked up. 5 versus 4, you search for the truth. 8 versus 4. Anything better than an auto fail is a success. But we have Rex's Curse, so we need to succeed twice. 8 versus 4, -1. This is good. We do a measly 1 damage to the Hunting Horror, but every little helps, trust me. And that was our last action. How rubbish is that? By the way, some, I guess, strategy that I'm thinking of. We're getting close to this 7 doom to move the agenda deck on. I think it is best to just stay in the exhibit hall with Rex. Deal with this Hunting Horror so that Rex can then hoover up these clues, hopefully playing a delve too deep before he finishes it. And then, yeah, we miss out on exhibit hall, but that was a write-off anyway because of the locked door and the horrible exhibit hall effects and the high shroud as well. And yeah, we write off the potential victory point from this exhibit hall, but crucially, we don't come away with mental trauma or with some negative effects. Well, let's play it safe. It's a blind playthrough. That's what you're supposed to do, I suppose. Onto the enemy phase. The Hunting Horror attacks us. 1 and 1. Nasty stuff, man. Put it on Harold Wolstead to get him killed for absolutely no reason at all. The upkeep phase. We've drawn Prepared for the Worst on Zoe and a Perception on Rex. Nothing crazy. Mythos phase. We're now on 5 out of 7 doom. Cursed Luck on Zoe. -1 skill tests. -1 skill value during skill tests. Okay. And on Rex, Stalked in the Dark. If Hunting Horror is in play, it readies, engages you, and attacks each investigator at your location. It readies, it engages Rex. Man, this is fucking awful. It attacks everyone. We've done it on Zoe. Zoe only has 1 sanity remaining, by the way. This is awful. It attacks Rex 1 and 1, but every time we take 1 or more horror, we then take 1 direct damage as well. Man, it soon gets bad. It soon gets bad. Well, we know what we're going to do. We know what we're going to do on this turn. I'm not even sure I want to play this delve too deep now, just in case Zoe gets some kind of sanity wipeout. Let's think about this. The only thing we need to do... we're not going to do the extra damage with Zoe because of Machete. We're not engaged with it. Right. We engage with Hunting Horror for an action. We get a resource too. We then test against Hunting Horror. It's got 4 fist. We've got 4 fist, naturally 5 from Machete, -1 from Cursed Luck. We're testing 4 versus 4. Obviously 4 versus 4 is dreadful. We throw a Prepared for the Worst at it. 5 versus 4. We want to get up to 8 versus 4. We spend 3 resources. Unless Dr. Henry Armitage has some. Well, he does have wild icons, actually. Let's commit Dr. Henry Armitage. God, I can't remember how many resources I just spent. Christ. Let's spend 1 more to be safe. What I mean is safe from cheating, basically, not safe from the Hunting Horror. We're testing 8 versus 4, anything but an auto fail, and we win. Or we don't win, we kill the Hunting Horror. We take the doom off. Do we take the doom off? What happens when the Hunting Horror goes into the void? Yeah, leaves play, we take the doom off, I'm sure about that. Hunting Horror goes away for now, and the next time he comes back, he will be massive, as far as I understand. Curse Luck gets discarded as well, thankfully. Now, are we preparing to play a delve too deep? Seems to me very, very stupid. Very, very stupid indeed. We're going to play this safe. I risked it last scenario and it turned out alright, but this time we're going to play it safe. We're just going to get clues. I say we want to get clues. We'd be testing 4 versus 3. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's test, see what happens. 4 versus 3, -1. What can you say? We've got a clue. All we have to do is clear out the restricted hall. Okay, can be done. Now on to Rex's turn. Rex, obviously. Now he's got so many fantastic cards here. This is great. Rex investigates the exhibit hall. He's testing 4 versus 3, +1 from Magnifying Glass, +1 from Dr. Milan, 6 versus 3. We want to be over-succeeding, and it's really important that we clear this out this turn. We want to be over-succeeding. We are 6 versus 3, effectively 6 versus 5, if we think about it like that. In fact, we throw a deduction at it. 7 versus 5 means we'll get that extra clue if it all goes well. Let's also just chuck an inquiring mind at it. Why not? 10 versus 5. Anything but an auto-fail wins. Fantastic stuff. But because of Rex's curse, we need to roll again. A skull, thank God, it's a success. All 3 clues. And Rex still has 2 more actions, and we get another resource from Dr. Milan Christopher, by the way. Turn over the egg deck. Am I going to have to do anything else? No. I wonder... Alright, we finished the scenario. Let's say, we put a pin in that. We know that we finished the scenario. Let's play it out. If we had played Delve Too Deep, then what would have happened? We'd have played it. We had to draw 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. Zoe would have got Stalked in the Dark, which is Surge, so she has to draw another. She would have got Ephemeral Exhibits. She could have dealt with that very easily, and Rex would have got Passage into the Veil. He also could have dealt with that, so we would have been fine. Interestingly enough, what's the idea, or what's the public perception, or the player perception, I guess, of looking at what's in the encounter deck, obviously shuffling it afterwards, just to see what are the chances that you could draw things. See, look, we could have taken horror from Twist of Fate. We could have had to put hunting horror in play, and it would have attacked us, or engaged with us at least. Twist of Fates, we could have got... What was another one? There was another one that was to do with horror, wasn't there? Yeah, we could have got pushed into the beyond. Honestly, we probably would have been fine. Or, statistically, we would have been fine. But I suppose it's not worth the risk for 1 experience point, but good to know for the future. Alright, we have won the scenario. We have finished. No Delve Too Deeps, a noticeable absence in the victory display. Act 3B. The Necronomicon. At last you find the locked case containing the Necronomicon. The tome, over 800 pages in length, is filled with all manner of macabre imagery, formulae, spells, prophecies, and descriptions of creatures from beyond the threshold of space. Without a doubt, it is a dangerous book, but its secrets could be very useful. Again, what's the public perception on whether you would take the Necronomicon is set aside here, right? I remember reading that in the setup. It is here. I'm not looking, I promise. Yeah, what's the public perception on looking at story assets before you add them to your deck? I think, to be honest, in this one, let's say we have no new information apart from just our gut feeling that it could be too dangerous to keep around, we have to destroy it, or it's too valuable to destroy. I think someone like Zoe would destroy it. I also think Rex would be drawn to keep it because it would, he's a reporter, it's a very sensational story, but I think he is aware enough of his own bad luck, and he's already ran into occult conspiracies and things. I think he would stay far away from it. For now, we go with Resolution 1. I think. Yeah, Resolution 1. What I am going to do, though, is... Maybe this is cheating, but I've made my decision now. Let's look at the Necronomicon. The Necronomicon Elias Wormius translation. You get +1 book, and you can spend an action to gain 2 resources. It takes up a hand slot. Forgive me for this, but isn't that a bit... shit? Or maybe not shit, but we've already got 2 magnifying glasses to give plus 1 book. Only while we're investigating, sure. And spending an action to gain 2 resources. I don't see it, man. I don't see that being that useful. Well, I think we made the right decision, or rather, I'm glad that we made that decision. It would be good, however, on Daisy, I suppose. But is it better than the card that lets you pull another, than the tome that lets you pull another card from the top of your deck? I don't know, it doesn't feel that strong. I wonder if it has any story connotations later on. Would be cool if it does. Alright, that's the end of the scenario. Nothing really changed. What we do have to do, actually, forgot about this, is read the resolutions, so let's do that. As long as this translation of the Necronomicon exists, there will be sorcerers and other foul agents like Whately seeking it. In the end, you know what must be done to protect humanity from the threats you've seen. You find a trash bin and fill it with books and documents, throwing the Necronomicon on top. It takes several matches to set the contents of the bin alight. The flames fill the room with heat, and the creeping shadows retreat from its light. You watch the book burn for some time, its pages turning to ash. You can only hope you've made the right decision. In your campaign log, record that the investigators destroyed the Necronomicon. I shall do that. Destroyed the Necronomicon. Now, how bad have I done that? I promise this wasn't intentional, but I do know that it's very wrong. I did it very lazily. Destroyed the Necronomicon. I love that. Destoried. I took all the tales and the magic out of it. How wonderful. End of the scenario, I believe. We get a measly 3 experience from this one. Could have been 4 with delved too deep, but it wouldn't have been much higher because there was no way we were getting to this exhibit hall. Alright, proceed to scenario 3, the Essex County Express next. That is the end, folks. Thank you very much. As always, feel free to point out any mistakes. Most of the mistakes, if there are any, will just be carelessness or forgetfulness, but there will be a few where you point them out and I think, oh, of course, that's a rule that I just didn't know or forgot. Like, I'm still really having to put quite a lot of effort into understanding the timings of when you can use actions and the order of operations for things, but I'm getting my head around it slowly. Okay, take it easy. I'll see you next time.